Hey, welcome to LiftoffPM. My name is Kevin Wei. I'm a senior product manager, and today we're going to talk through 9 strategies to help you land an associate product manager position. The APM role is a highly coveted one that can be traced back to the early days of Google. As Google was growing rapidly, it became apparent that there was a need for a structured way to train and develop new product managers. So, in response, Google launched the APM program, which was designed to be a rigorous training ground for aspiring product managers. Participants were given real-world responsibilities and opportunities to work on a variety of products. And this helped them build the skills that they need to be a successful product manager, like doing market analysis, user research, and strategic planning. The success of Google's APM program led to its adoption by many other tech companies today, like Meta, Coinbase, and Uber. And today, APM roles are a common entry point for individuals seeking careers in product. And those fortunate enough to land a position are also well compensated, as they can earn roughly $150,000 to $200,000 in total annual compensation. We'll dive into how you can land this role, but first, I want to share that we here at LiftoffPM also have many more PM interview lessons to share with you in our paid course. Just hit the link at the top of the description to see them all, including how to answer product sense, execution, strategy, and behavioral questions. There are a lot of interview prep materials out there, many of which are outdated or contain generic advice. Our course has the most up-to-date topics and strategic ways for you to answer today's tough PM interview questions so that you can stay focused on what works. So hit join and unlock all the videos to ace your PM interview. And in doing so, support the extensive writing, filming, and editing here at LiftoffPM. Our course has helped over 90 people land PM roles at FAANG and top startups, and we're really proud of that. All right, back to the lesson. Throughout the years, we've mentored many folks whose goal is to break into product management. We've given talks to undergrads and business school students, and we've seen the same questions over and over again. Today, we'll walk you through how to stand out in a crowd of applicants with no formal product experience and land an APM position. So strategy 1, what are recruiters looking for? How can I make my resume stand out? Recruiters are looking for a few things on a resume. Software or PM experience, obviously this is a chicken and egg problem and we'll get into this later. Technical experience, not necessarily a technical degree, but that definitely helps. Leadership experience, and entrepreneurial experience. What recruiters don't care about, and some of the most common pitfalls we see, is your class projects. We reviewed hundreds of APM applicant resumes, and it's astonishing how many people list their school projects. This is not a differentiating factor when literally everyone in your school's class or school's major has the same project. A robust skills section. Listing out React, Java, etc., having a really robust skills section will not differentiate you from other applicants, since everyone in your stage of life takes the same courses and roughly should have the same skills on paper. Or that you report it to a VP or present it to some executive during your internship. This is not a reflection of you, this is just a reflection of the org structure you happen to report into. Strategy 2. How do I show software or product management experience if I don't have any formal internships? So we've definitely been there. Every PM has had no PM experience before landing their first role. One of the main takeaways that we want you to take away from today's video is that 90% of students haven't shown that they can even build anything from 0 to 1 or nothing to something. And this is literally what product managers do. So if you can't demonstrate that you've already taken something from 0 to 1, you're pretty unlikely to get a call back. The easiest way for you to show this is by side projects. And by, this sounds kind of scary. We know that you're already really busy with classes, projects, problem sets, and with life. So some practical advice. You can get some side projects by joining a hackathon. It doesn't have to be a major hackathon. In fact, it's probably best if it's a smaller one. And what people don't realize is that even small hackathons have tons of support to help you debug. Either they're industry sponsored with full-time engineers there to help you out, or they're school sponsored and some of the smartest folks at your school are going to be there. And there's going to be a lot of prizes to give away at the smaller hackathons with maybe fewer teams to compete against. So you have a higher chance of winning something if you go to a smaller hackathon maybe. Start small. Something as simple as a personal website can start as a side project. And this shows that you can design something, code it up, at least maybe know how to edit HTML, productionalize it, and overall simply take an idea or an initiative to an actual product. And as a bonus, you can now use this personal website as a place to host your portfolio and maybe future side projects. Do something unique if you can. So when I was in school and competing in hackathons, I remember everyone else was trying to build mobile apps. That was all the craze back in the day. So I decided to do something different by working with hardware and building a very, very simple app using a smartwatch. So it was super simple, but because I used a bit of hardware, I stood out and won a prize with my team. So using a bit of hardware might not be the way to stand out today, but the same point stands. So your project can be super simple, but if you want to stand out, maybe be a little bit creative and do something that is different than everyone else around you. Strategy 3, what makes a good side project? So again, your side projects don't have to be fancy at all. The most important thing is that your side project solves a real problem. One of Selena's earliest side projects was an office hour web app. So the problem that she had at Berkeley was that if you try to go to office hours and you weren't there 15 minutes early, you had zero chance of catching the TA for help because of the long lines to get help. People would also sometimes cut in line. It was a big mess. So she and some friends built a web app to enforce the queue electronically instead of using a whiteboard or whoever was being the most aggressive in trying to get to the TA. But also 2, encourage peer tutoring by allowing folks to hop forward in the queue if they answered someone else's question and could, therefore clear a spot in the line. And even though it's best to show a real demo or a real prototype for a real product, you don't really have to build something end-to-end to show that you have product thinking. For example, maybe you can just do a product breakdown. This means you can take a product that you like in real life and write out what you think could be done to improve it. So, you could draw out a few iterations of wireframes, write out why you think your design would solve the problem you identified, do some discovery on the problem, and some designs like a real PM would do. None of this requires any coding. And then on your personal website, or even something as simple as a blog website like Substack, you can write up a blog post. And then you can break down your thinking and upload some photos. And most of Selena's side projects actually were of this variety when she got her APM job. So, you can even consider inviting others to share their thoughts in the blog's comment section about what they thought about your product breakdown. Strategy 4, what counts as leadership experience? So simply participating in a club is not special. Just going to a club, just going to a hackathon, even holding a leadership position in a club is really not that rare to see on a resume. What makes your leadership experience stand out is to show that you actually had a unique contribution to the club. So don't talk about your duties, like taking notes, fundraising, organizing events. Anyone else can do this. Talk about the impact you actually had. If you weren't there, what would folks have missed out on? In one of my side projects, I formed a partnership with another school, and this allowed many other students at that school to leverage what we had built. All right, strategy 5. What counts as entrepreneurial experience? Another key takeaway that we want you to have is that 99% of people have never made a single dollar outside of being employed by someone else. Entrepreneurial experience is one of the best ways, besides side projects, to stick out from the crowd. You don't have to have done your own startup by any means. Entrepreneurial experience can even be something like owning an Etsy shop or being a content creator. The skills that you got to be successful in those realms are really similar to being a PM. You got to know your audience and their needs and desires, and then offer something that they want to consume that you could ultimately monetize. Again, you don't have to own a literal business, but showing that you can hustle, build something from 0 to 1, and make a few extra dollars by catering to a real niche is much, much better than most of the other people who are applying for an APM role. Strategy 6. What if I don't have a computer science degree? So today, it's totally fine for you not to have a CS degree. 10 years ago, CS degrees were more of a must, but nowadays, APM programs are more abundant and are looking for a more diverse range of candidates. Some of the best PMs that I've personally worked with at companies like Coinbase and Amazon didn't come from a technical background. So don't let this be the inhibiting factor from you applying for or thinking that you can go for an APM position. Of course, it totally depends on the company as well. So Google's APM program does list a CS background as a requirement, but Meta's RPM program explicitly states that they're hiring both technical and non-technical people. Strategy 7. How do I build technical proficiency? So on top of trying to build side projects, one highly underrated activity is reading engineering blogs. Every top company maintains one, and each post talks about a real problem that they solved and writes about it in a way that's accessible to most people. For example, Meta has a blog post that talks about how they solved the thundering herd problem when building Facebook Live. The best part is that the thundering herd problem is something that you can apply to any similar situation at YouTube, TikTok, etc. And once you've understood the concepts from a given blog post, you can apply them almost anywhere. This is a major cheat code because companies are literally telling you how they solve problems at scale and what they had to think about to solve them. Really internalize these lessons because software companies often encounter the same computer science challenges across many different use cases. And if you don't understand a term on the blog, Google, ChatGPT, or your friends who are in computer science can definitely help. Strategy 8. Now that I have an interview, what's the best way to prepare? So the best way to prep is to review concepts and frameworks from every kind of major PM interview question. Product sense, analytical, execution, strategy, behavioral, and technical, if applicable. Check out our other videos for more in-depth lessons, but please do not have your first live interview be the real thing. Practice out loud with others to get the kinks out first, and practice by interviewing with companies that you kind of care a little bit less about. So, you'd be really surprised at how many students make this mistake. And even I, a senior PM who makes interview prep lessons on YouTube, I need to do live practice interviews before I feel like I'm ready to do an interview with a real company that I want to join. And one thing to note, as an APM candidate, you should specifically prepare questions around why you want to be an APM. You'd be really surprised at how many students don't actually know what a PM does. So companies want to make sure that you understand what you're signing up for. Companies also want to make sure that, you're getting into it for the right reasons. And strategy 9. What do I do if I can't get an APM role this time? This happens. APM programs are competitive, and that's a fact. In fact, APM roles might even be more competitive than PM roles for experienced professionals. Most APM programs are also on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you have any time left in your undergrad, make sure that you apply early. But know that careers are long, and it's becoming more and more common for folks to switch into PM at later stages in their career. You can continue to build product chops at any role in any company, and you can parlay that experience into new opportunities in the future. And that's our advice. We've looked at hundreds of resumes and have mentored folks from many backgrounds who want to become PMs. And today we covered the most common mistakes and gaps that we see in resumes from new grads who want to land their dream APM role. Good luck in your upcoming interview, and click the join button below to try either one paid course or access the full course through YouTube memberships. There are a lot of courses on the internet, many of which are outdated or contain mediocre advice. The LiftoffPM course has the latest topics and most important strategies so that you can stay focused on what works. We'll see you in the next video.